Hey guys, welcome back to the Real Results Show, where we feature real health coaches and health practitioners getting real health results for their clients and themselves. As always, I'm your host, Brendan Vermeyer. I'm a clinical advisor for FTN, and I'm the director of our tribe's awesome association, where we get to support the community with ongoing education regarding a variety of clinical and business building topics. So this week, I'm super stoked to have my good friend, Tracy Gowler, on the line with us today. She actually completed the course back in 2017 and has been successfully practicing FDN ever since. So welcome to the show, my friend Tracy. I'm happy to talk with you tonight.
Thanks. It's great to be here, actually. I'm glad we get to do this.
Yeah, I am too. As we were just saying backstage, I really enjoy this series that we're doing, because every single episode, every FDN, we just have so many similarities with the story and everything. So I'd love to kickstart this convo by hearing your story of what brought you to the FDN community.
Sure. I'll make it short. It's kind of a long story, because once you start understanding, or once you start looking for answers, you start to realize when you learn more through the program that it's probably been going on a lot longer than you ever thought. And I think it really started to deteriorate from the age of 16, quite honestly. But by the time I was 45, I could hardly walk up the stairs of my house. By the time I was 49, I was off to visit my grandmother, and I ended up in the hospital myself, and with gallbladder issues, and I knew that's what it was, and that was my no more in that moment. And I started on a journey to heal myself, because I was sick and tired of the medical community, which had literally not served me at all. And it was a long process to start that journey on my own, but in having some success, I decided that I needed a platform to be able to help others, because I knew if I'd struggled this long, so had they. And I actually signed up for a different health coaching program the day before I joined FDN, and it popped up on my computer somehow. And I called, and within 3 minutes, somebody returned my call, and I asked them, why should I be part of this program? And they said, because it's the last piece of the puzzle. So that was all I needed. And I disenrolled from the other program, enrolled in this program, and I do have to say it's the last piece of the puzzle. So for all the work that I did previous to coming to FDN, it was great, but it wasn't enough. And in putting myself through the program, while I went through the program, holy smokes, it's literally taken me from not being able to climb up my stairs in my home, and I now kayak rivers and I climb ice walls. So it's great. I have my life back, and that's thanks to FDN.
Wow. that was really, that sounded so good. Almost like just a polished sort of, that was awesome to hear. I'm curious, who it was that you talked to, and kind of the serendipitous, you enrolled in one health coaching program, and whoever said, it's the last piece, I got to give them a high five. But,
oh yeah.
I would agree with that too. And certainly a lot of our other guests we've had on the show, kind of similar stories, or even myself. It was, I had all sorts of fitness, nutrition, functional credentials, but FDN really was kind of the thing that brought it all together and created this, systematic, methodical, progressive model that we can teach professionals and then replicate with clients. And it works.
And it works. Like
magic.
Crazy. Yeah. And it's crazy. And I look forward. I just got a text, and I can't obviously mention her name, but these poor girls that get onto birth control, and all of a sudden they're being told by their doctors that they'll probably never have children because they haven't had a cycle in 4 years, and blah, 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 blah. And I got a text from her the other day, and she said to me, oh my gosh, Tracy, guess what? It just happened. I just got my cycle today, and it's been 4 years. And that's fabulous. You give people their lives back. It's awesome.
Yeah, it truly is. I literally was just thinking earlier, I was kind of thinking of the contrast of, what FDNs do versus other maybe kind of the cliche medical, anyways, you kind of get what I mean. But, I was thinking about how the models are very different of, okay, you have, insert the blank of whatever diagnosis, AKA you're a victim. We don't fully understand why this happens. You're powerless.
Yes.
You're powerless. There's no treatment except for, here's your pill. I'm in control of your health, and you have to rely on me and pharma for the rest of your life.
Right.
Whereas, and to think that the word doctor originally means to teach in Latin origins. So then you flip that around of like, well, what do FDNs do? We don't medicate, we educate, right? We're educating on, okay, well, let's use objective data with testing to identify the root cause healing opportunities that are contributing to your, metabolic dysfunction, to get to the root of it and teach you how to take back, because I can't heal you. You have to heal you,
Yeah, it's incredible. I spend so much time, I spend the first 6 weeks of my program in lifestyle education only. They can't even graduate to the second half of my program if they don't go through it. If they can't prove that they're 100%, because I deal with autoimmune, if they're 100% AIP, if they're not, you aren't moving to the next phase of the program. You have to show me you're willing to commit to this. And that's, the education is so important, because in that process, I also require that they journal, so they learn to listen to the whispers of their body, because they know more about their health than anybody else. It's crazy. Yeah.
Totally. Couldn't agree more. And I really commend you for that, because, anytime you are in sort of a educational role, I think there is a certain amount of, I don't say like tough love, but loving honesty is maybe what I would call it, because it's like, you're not helping them by kind of like lying to them. No, you'll get better if you don't do the things that you have to do to get better.
Right, exactly. I find it works. I'm very open and very honest with my clients, and they start to trust you because you're authentic, and because you've lived it too. But it's cool. I love what I do.
Be their kind of spirit guide down that path. It's like you're the experienced guide, and you can help guide them through you can't do it for them. They have to walk that path themselves. You can at least make it a little bit less treacherous and a little bit more clear. Well, that's awesome. I'd love to. So when you went through the FTN program and, doing the testing on yourself, I'm curious to hear about, what you found and how that helps with, your own health goals.
Sure. Right before I started the program, I found out that I had Hashimoto's. And my numbers, I was able to get them down to 200 on my own, but I wasn't able to get them lower than that, my antibodies. So with the FDN program, I went through the first tests that are obviously recommended, which are the hormone/adrenal evaluation and the 101 test. So you're hitting the basic functions of the body to determine what kind of support you need. And I stayed there for a little while with the protocols for that. And I started to feel even better. And every plateau that you hit, it's amazing when you start to look back, like, oh my God, did I really feel like that? And I thought I felt great, but no, you don't feel great. And now you feel great. And that there's more plateaus to hit. So I ended up going through pathogens, like the GI map, and lots of stuff there, lots of opportunities for healing.
I like that. I like that. There you go.
Was a lot, because I've been for a long time. And you have your little pity parties, because and I tell my clients, you need to have those, because it sucks. It's not an easy process. And so we walk through that, and I walked myself through that, which is great, because now I can help them. But then because I'm older, I had metal fillings. The mercury fillings, silver fillings. And the reality was I wasn't going to get better till I got rid of those. And so I took the test and found out that I had 8 times the level of mercury in my system that I should have had. Yeah. And so I spent a little while trying to get rid of that last fall and into the new year this year. And because it is a process and it does take a while, and you work on pathogens because you can't hit metal till you deal with the pathogens because you won't be able to get rid of it. And so, you know, pathogens can take a while, and then you move into the metals, and it's all good though, because everything that I go through is another learning opportunity for me to deal with my clients. It's, you know, so now instead of looking at it from the pity party perspective, I kind of like, oh yeah, like look what I get to learn now. It's awesome. So,
I love your authenticity, and I really kind of just want to, you know, point out and sort of commend like your outlook, and that's something I feel very, very strong. We were kind of just talking about it backstage. You know, when we're working with clients, is we do have to be, you know, very honest and open and genuine and loving, but a lot of it too, it's that outlook. And, you know, I won't go into the tangent, but it's like we have so much evidence and research that shows and documents the power of how, you know, positive psychology has a literal physiological healing effect versus the other way around. And so again, this is that contrast in the model of here you are educating your clients and helping them reframe their mindset and their psychology, which is literally conducive to the healing process, as opposed to not only allowing victim mentality, but encouraging victim mentality with this label of, here, this is you, it happened to you, there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
And so I really commend you for that.
Thank you. And I talk about that a lot with my clients. Like, even though one of the first things that I dive into with autoimmune is I say, I'm going to talk about the label, but I don't want you to use the label. Like every time you bring that label in, you're just allowing the energy to come at you from that label. We don't want to talk about the label. I'm going to use it, but it's better to reframe it by saying, you know, I'm living my life with this, or, you know, I'm working on some healing opportunities, rather than every person you talk to, you're discussing this, you know, your label. And we dive into that. And the other thing I dive into is that the stress in their lives, which you have to dive into, can be just as important as every other lifestyle factor. So we spend a lot of time there too.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And, you know, as you said, the last puzzle piece, because there really isn't anything like this. I mean, there's a reason I'm sitting here tonight, because this is the only thing I've seen that brings all together of, you know, the clinical knowledge and the science and objective data with testing, but then still the holistic health coaching side of it. There's no other professional that brings it all together. You know, you've got clinicians and doctors, naturopaths, you've got health coaches preaching generic, still helpful, but generic information that applies to everybody. FDNs are that perfect hybrid. We can do it all, you know, and in conjunction with other providers as needed, of course. But I love that. So after you graduated, what was next for you? Did you immediately, you know, start practicing and working with clients privately?
Yeah. You know, I was really, really lucky that I met this woman on a plane one day, and we didn't even talk, but as we were landing, she just kind of introduced herself to me and we started chatting, and she had Hashis also. And she just jumped in as my first client, which was great. And I'd already spent a little bit of time while I was going through the program, because I'm a little bit of an overachiever, hence part of my issue, but building my program, because I have an engineering background and a project management background, and I just went for it. And I got into Jen's program too, you know, and bought her thing, and I was just raring to go. So she was my first guinea pig with all of it, but she has so many connections. She just started introducing me to everybody because she was so successful in just the first go around with her, and it was amazing. And so they started pulling me into different things, and it really is about that. It's about your clientele being very happy and pleased with the results, because if they follow what you're telling them to do, they're going to have results. And I mean, it's just the bottom line. And then they start telling their friends, and next thing you know, I'm on a Facebook Live with 8,000 people watching, and holy smokes, you know. So it does happen. You just have to be patient and just go for it. You can't sit around worrying whether you know enough, because you do know enough. And you just go out there and you get started, and you'll learn more along the way. And that's the other cool thing, is the mentors that we have available to us, right? And we have access to them anytime we need them. And there's a lot to be learned there. And it's cool. Like, you're never alone. We're a huge community that helps us move forward. And it's great. I love it.
You just touched on a lot of things that are really good. First off, where were you when I was getting my business started? I could have really used somebody with your skill set of project management and what was the other engineering.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have Gen System also, which is going to be the most monumental tool ever for scaling.
I was the first person to buy it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, I could have used you to set that up.
I was the guinea pig.
Where you start though?
Oh yeah. I love that. I love that. Yeah.
Man, so you did it the right way. You started out that way, whereas I'm trying to like backtrack, of like, well, we've already, but now we have to,
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome though. And as you said though, you also pointed out the imposter syndrome thing, which is a very real thing. And I see a lot of FDNs kind of struggle with that sometimes, where it's like, do I really know enough? Like, can I really help people? And it's like, you graduated, didn't you?
Right.
Like, if you do what we trained you to do and you enforce that lovingly with your clients, as you said, they're gonna get results, period.
They're gonna get results. Right.
Yeah.
And you don't overthink it. You just do what you're told to do. Like, don't go in and think, oh my gosh, they got this, they got that, maybe I should be doing something different. No. The program is the program for a reason. It's for a reason. You just follow the program. The reality is, everybody that's sick, there may be some nuances with them, but you approach them all the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
What you learn in this program can get you started with most people. It's great.
I totally agree. Obviously, a lot of us FDNs, we are very, as Reed likes to say, kind of learn freaks. We love learning. But like you said, though, it's fun to study all of the things.
Right.
But as you said, at the end of the day, it's only like a 10% difference. 90% of the picture, it's going to be the clone copy of a lot of the fundamental things with our diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, supplementation.
Yes.
You hit those major systems, you address the key things, and it does take time though. And I that's something I really appreciate about what you're saying that I wanted to point out was, it takes time, consistency, compliance.
Yes.
And of course, in our instant gratification addicted society, that can be a hard pill to swallow, pun intended.
Right. Right. And those pills are sometimes hard for them to swallow too. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Well, awesome. So, and as you said, word of mouth. Once you help just one person, you shed the imposter syndrome, you step into the light, you step into that path that the universe is pulling you into.
Right.
All it takes is you help that one person, and they come to you, and then you have kind of this endless stream of referrals, because there's a lot of people out there suffering that are looking for somebody just like you.
It's true. It's true. And I started with a focus, because it's easy, because I understood it. So I went after women with Hashimoto's, but then I started getting referrals for children and young adults with a lot of autoimmune issues. And so I picked up that aspect to my business as well. And now, so, and FDN allows me to help all those people, which is cool.
Totally. Yeah. I like how, man, you've got it all together, don't you? The business know-how, the organization, the niching and everything, kind of pick a niche, pick a demographic, which helps a lot. Yes. But as you said, that's one of my favorite things about the FDN methodology is, okay, we all go through the same initial training, and there's extra trainings that you can pick to dive into from there. But the beautiful thing is, the same principles and logic, it applies to everybody. If you're a human, because we're studying human physiology and biochemistry and measuring it objectively. So if you're a human, a lot of the same stuff's going to apply, whether you're a baby, whether pediatric, geriatric, whatever, anything within that spectrum. And so you can kind of pick your ideal client, or what kind of clients really make you passionate? And as Jen always says, usually your clients are a, reflection of you, really.
Right.
Yeah.
And all the women that have come to me for Hashimoto's, they're just a duplicate, which is great because we can talk frankly. And I love that. And they've got the same passion that I do. And we can speak the same language to each other, which is great. But this other avenue opened up just because. And so I've chosen to step through it. You don't have to, but it's okay. It's there, and it's an opportunity to help more people. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Very good. Well, and also too, you mentioned kind of the community and never being alone and everything. And so I'd love to hear, what your experience has been like, post-graduation with, you have a tough case and you want to get some extra eyes on it, or, how's your experience been with our big old community?
Yeah. So obviously with every test that runs through the medical director program, you have an opportunity to speak to one of the mentors, which is phenomenal. I love that. And I take advantage of it, even if I don't feel I need it, because there might be something there that I haven't seen or recognized. So I'm always having those conversations, but I do have right now a pretty sick young lady. And so, and eventually we're going to run into somebody like this, and you're going to be trying things and nothing that you do seems to be working, or one day she's great, the next day she's not. And you're just wondering what the heck, because the standard that you've been taught doesn't seem to really be flying for this particular client. So the first thing that I do is go and request a consult. And because, like I said, we're never alone. And next thing you know, I've got a game plan and I've got educational resources that have been recommended for me. And I'm diving in. And guess what? We're making progress now. So there is always all of this available. And that's why it doesn't scare me anymore to just dive in and take on the tough clients, because there are people here that have done it before and they're all willing to help. And it's great.
Totally. It's that unity of the community. It's that collective consciousness. I mean, anybody that's kind of studied the human body and human health, there's too much. There's too much. And the funny thing is, the more you learn, the more you realize how little any of us know. And I'm not talking about FDN, I'm talking about the human species.
Exactly.
Like we do not know nearly as much as we like to think we do. But I think that's one thing. Another thing that I noticed about the people in the FTN community and those that come is we're kind of the truth seekers. We're kind of the open-minded, receptive to the more, that check our ego. Because as soon as you think you know something, that's when you inhibit the process of learning.
Exactly. Yes. So that's one thing that I'm constantly, even though I get excited about things that might be happening with my clients, I realize that I'm only here as a guide. They're doing all the work. They're doing all the work. Right. Yeah. And I'm just here. And the reality is I would never know as much as a doctor might know, but I don't really need to guide them to that place. I don't have to be the expert. I can just be the person that guides them through a healing process. And if it works, I don't know, like it's hard to talk about it like it's complicated, because it's really not.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, unfortunately, just because of kind of human confirmation bias and just human nature, we like to identify as part of a tribe, as a group. And then we get into this warrior mindset of it's us versus them, instead of scout mindset of like, let's be open to the possibilities. And so my point being, unfortunately, there's kind of this, some have this idea of like conventional versus functional. And it's like, that's the wrong attitude, attitude. How are we ever going to heal the planet and save the millions of people suffering from chronic disease? How are we going to be able to help them if we're, squirming and whining about that kind of stuff? Because at the end of the day, what conventional medical doctors do could not be more different than what FDN practitioners do. However, I have this thing that I made, kind of the healthcare spectrum, and we already kind of covered it. But it's like, yeah, you've got your generic health coaches, fitness trainers, nutrition coaches. Hey, we need a lot of them. We need more of them.
Yeah.
Then you got allopathic, reactive to disease, allopathic conventional medicine. But then there's this huge gap in the middle. And as we like to say in FDN, we're that final piece that fills the needs gap, but we own that bridge, you know?
We totally do. And the reality is sooner or later, the medical community is going to catch up. They're going to have to, because the way that people are sick is changing. But the way that they do business, they're never going to take away what we do. They never can. They just, so the reality is we might as well just appreciate what everybody brings to the table, because we're all needed. All of us.
I love your attitude. See, this is why I love this show so much, is there's so many amazing, humans and souls in the FTN community. And, I haven't been able to have like a one-on-one conversation with everybody, but I am loving hearing your story and getting to know you. Resonates with me so much. And I think that's another beautiful thing is it's not just us. It's like everybody in the FTN community is like this. So, anybody that's listening, it's like, if this is resonating with you, I think this is your tribe.
Oh, yeah, totally. And when you come together at the conference, you just walk into a room full of people just like yourself. And it feels like home. It's great. Everybody's of the same mindset, and you meet so many people. And there's a microbiome conference coming up. I don't know if you're going to that. But anyway, yeah. But I got invited, and there's 12 other people that have been invited in Colorado now. And so sooner or later, you're going to run into not just other FDNers, but other people in the industry that are doing different things. And you just can't get away from it once you're in the circle. There's so many people. It's crazy.
Absolutely. The conference last year was truly life-changing, because I never experienced something like that. It's like, I'm not the weirdo anymore. Like, these people are just as weird as me. This is great.
Right?
Are you going this year, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I'm going to be there this year. I'm so excited. And I highly recommend, for anybody that's really thinking about it, they should come. Well, they should just sign up, of course. But if they're really on a fence, they should just come to that conference, because they get such a tremendous exposure for what it's really like. It's awesome. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Because, I always, it's funny. I was just talking to one of my best friends today, and she's thinking about doing FDN. And, the first time she talked to me about it, I wasn't trying to talk her into it. I was trying to help her decide if it was the right fit, because it's no small undertaking. And I tell everybody that, like, this is for people that are truly ready for answers to solve their own health problems and take control of their own health, or they want to do that professionally and help others, which I'll tell you right now, as soon as you do it on yourself, that's all you're going to want to do for the rest of your life is then help others. Unless you're like a total narcissist, but.
Oh, it's so true. I got into it initially, really. I mean, I was looking for something because I wanted to do this. And I wanted to help other people, but I knew by getting into it, I was going to be able to help myself. And then holy crap, it's like, man, we can change the world. Not because I, that's what I need to do from an egotistical perspective. It's just because it's the next damn, like, it's like the next, it's just.
It's the right thing.
It's the right thing. But
it's the right thing.
People aren't recognizing that this chronic illness is the next plague, and it's on its way, and people are needed. We're at the beginning of the wave, honestly, and the more we can help.
Yeah. I like that, because I say that all the time. We are at such a pivotal moment in human existence, really. And what's really cool, I think about just how much kind of the industry has changed, even in my career, which, I'm at like 10 years at this point, which is kind of crazy to think about. But, it's exciting to see how quickly this movement is growing, like not just FDN, but the whole holistic, functional, integrative space, because it is growing so quickly, and it's beautiful to see.
It's beautiful to see. It really, really is. Yes, it is growing by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, it really is. Man, I literally could talk to you all night, but I want to make sure people know how they can get in contact with you. So website, social media? How can people find you?
Sure. The name of my company is Your Health Made Simple. So you can find me on Facebook as Your Health Made Simple, or you can go to my website, obviously www.yourhealthmadesimple.com. Or you can reach me at clientcare@yourhealthmadesimple.com. Either way, it all gets to me. It's all
Perfect.
good.
Yeah. Do you work virtually and face-to-face, or
just all virtual?
all
Just
virtual?
yeah.
Don't you love it?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it because, and the thing of it is that's so cool is I'm able to really adjust my hours to make it easier for my clients. So I do a lot of early morning stuff. I do a lot of late night stuff, but it all works out in the wash, you know, and if somebody needs me, it's easy to get on the computer really quick and just say, hey, it's okay. Like you're not alone. I'm here, you know, so it's awesome.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I mean, certainly I think we definitely, prefer that human face-to-face interaction, but it's more efficient, it's more comfortable. You don't have to leave their house. But you're not limited to. I just got a new client, in the Philippines and Egypt.
Seriously?
I'm like, well, now I got to figure out how to get test kits to the Philippines and Egypt.
I know, right?
Yeah, but we made it happen. It wasn't as easy of a process. But anyway, so the point being, like, if you become an FDN practitioner, you can work with clients anywhere in the world. Just the time zone, you'll be okay.
Yeah, I got a client out of Montreal. I had somebody contact me from the UK. So, it's possible. Word gets around. People see you and they're going to come after you because they want answers. So
absolutely. They'll find you. If you build it, they'll come. Yeah.
That's right. It's so true.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, this has been great. Tracy, thank you so much for being on the show. This has been a super enjoyable conversation. I look forward to our next call, or when we hang out maybe at the conferences coming up.
That would be great. Yeah. So that's awesome. It's been great. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I love chatting about this. You can't talk about it enough, right?
No, you really can't. The fact that, like, I get paid to do this is just like, like, I can't even think of a better thing. You know what I mean?
I know.
Talk about my passion, like, sign me up. Okay. Right. Well, awesome. So guys, for those of you listening, keep in mind, like, if you're listening and this resonates with you, like, you're in the right place, and I'd highly encourage you. We've got some awesome course counselors. They're really awesome ladies. I love them. And you can go to functionaldiagnosticnutrition.com/counselor. You can set up an appointment, talk to a counselor, and maybe they'll tell you it's the last puzzle piece you need. And of course, if you're ready to go ahead and take the plunge, you can go to functionaldiagnosticnutrition.com/Facebook Live and can enroll and begin your journey back to health and turn around, help other people do the same. So, Tracy, thank you again. Absolute pleasure. I really mean that.
Definitely. Thank you. It's been great.
Awesome.
Yeah, everybody that's out there, you need to sign up. It is phenomenal. I'm telling you. Seriously.
It's pretty magical. Yeah.
It's magical. Yeah.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful rest of your night, my friend. And to everybody else listening.
You too. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.